Does my audio and everything sound all right?
You sound beautiful, and welcome to Out of the Blank podcast.
Thanks for
Brett,
having me on, man. I'm really
Brett,
excited.
these are you like my little verbal pauses, my giant gaps in the way I'm talking. I kind of sound like Captain Kirk from Star Trek.
Yeah, it was throwing me off there for a second. I thought you were pausing to let me say something, and then you kept going. It's like, oh shit.
And then there's just going to be awkward silence, and we just stare at each other for the next 15 minutes. No, Brett. See, now I usually like I was telling you a minute ago. I usually start off with a conversation, start off thing. But I really want to cut into because I really love what you're doing with the podcast where you talk about addiction. What? Okay, why? Why? That's the big question.
Well, it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. I have a lot of personal experience with addiction and with recovery, and I've listened to a few other addiction podcasts, and I don't want to hate on them, but I didn't really like what they were doing, and I've been a huge fan of podcasts for a while. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start my own. And I talked about it. And then I had a friend and he was like, dude, quit talking about it and just do it. And I have that kind of personality where like I want everything to be perfect. And his encouragement to just do it, I was like, all right, fine. So I've just been figuring it out as I go and making mistakes and improving. And I've learned a ton about audio and recording and editing and all those kind of things, man. So I just really wanted to create a platform where people can share their experiences and let other people know that recovery is possible and that it doesn't have to be boring, because that was one of the misconceptions that I had when I first started on this journey of not using drugs. Was now that I'm not using, my life is going to be really boring and there's not going to be any kind of excitement, or I'm not going to find that fulfillment that I was finding with the drugs. And that's not the case, man. Like, my life is nothing like I expected it to be, but it's anything but boring.
That's what I think a lot of people don't understand is when you say the word addiction, people immediately think, "Oh my God, you're messed up because you're doing drugs, you're doing alcohol." People don't understand addiction. It's in fucking everything. Video games. There are people that are addicted to video games where they'll piss in 2-liter bottles by themselves and they won't go to the bathroom and they'll wear diapers. Or like for instance, the one thing I like to ask people is about COVID. What was a blessing that you kind of pulled out of it or something you never thought? I have worked out every single day and have not missed a day for 8 years now. I have not, even when gym shut down, I was still going. I had a gym addiction. I was 2 hours every single day working out 24/7, sometimes two a days, all these things. And now my day job is at a gym. So it's kind of like you're forced into the thing. But it was like, I never thought in a million years if you would have said, "Hey, you're not going to the gym today," that I wouldn't be able to go. But when everything started shutting down, even though I was still working out in secret, it was like this thing of like, why am I killing myself every day for 2 hours a day doing something just because what? It's in my mind that I have to do it. It was this big shocking come to grips moment where I was like, I can spend an hour. I still work out every day, but I'll spend an hour there and then move on to something else and find things I want to do. Like addiction is something you have to come to grips with yourself, but it doesn't mean you don't need help. And I think a lot of people, talk about, oh, there's that, like, for instance, like having multiple addiction podcasts. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't mean there doesn't need to be more out there because the interest is you're going to have something unique to bring to the table compared to everyone else. And I think with how
Mm-hmm.
big of a grasp this has on so many people, it should be something that there should be a lot more of. People speak. You never see the wounded part about people speaking about this stuff. You always hear about like, oh, I'm this many or I'm this many. It's like, what about the people that are like still trying to figure out if they even have a problem? It's this whole thing. I feel like we don't ever talk about depression as people. Nobody ever talks about, and if you hear mental health stuff, it's all motivational shit. It's like, let's talk about how times aren't going good today. Let's talk about the realness of things. Let's have authentic conversations instead of somebody just talking about fucking, I streamed this on Twitch last night. All right, that's fucking amazing. But what does that offer me in my life right now? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And one of the other things, and you kind of touched on it there, I don't think I realized, because I've talked to people with all different types of addictions. I've talked to people with gambling addiction, porn addiction, sex addiction, drugs, alcohol. Like, all kinds of different addictions, and I didn't realize how similar we all are, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what it is that the person is addicted to. It's the same kind of mental thing that's going on. It's that same like obsession and compulsion, and just like this all encompassing. It's hard to explain unless you've lived it, but the best way I can say it is it just like it completely encompasses your mind, and that's all you can think about is I need to do whatever this one thing is that brings me joy and happiness. And that's the whole thing. Like people look at drug addicts and they're like, well, why don't they just stop? And part of the reason is in the beginning the drugs work, man. Like that's why people start doing drugs, because they work. Like I know if I smoke this, or if I snort this, or if I drink this, I know how it's going to make me feel, and it works, man. Like it numbs that pain for a temporary period of time. So I know that it works. And that's the whole thing of it, man, is it's like once you get in that cycle, once you get in that addiction, you get to this point of like hopelessness and despair where you can't see a way out, where you don't know how you can function without it. And I've been at that place, man. I've been at the point where I couldn't get out of bed without picking up my meth pipe and smoking to start my day. Like I've been at that point where I can't go into work until I get high. I got to take a break at work and go get high. Like I have to continue to do it throughout the day, keep that high going to feel like I can function. And man, that's a scary place to be when you're dependent on this substance, when you don't think that you can function without it. And at the same time, like you're still using to just to try to like get through the shit, but it's also having all these negative consequences on your life. You're starting to lose friends, you're starting to act in ways that you normally wouldn't, you just to support that habit, stealing and manipulating and doing all these things that you would never do. And so it's like it's hard to explain, man, but it's really depressing and sad towards the end, man, because you just get to this point where it's like I have to have this. But at this point, like I've squandered all my resources, so now I gotta call my grandma and give her some sad story about like, oh, my car's broke down, when it's not, to try to get $100 so I can go get another bag. And man, it's it's
It,
it's
it's
bad.
you're not like, I mean, the way you're like kind of saying is like I wouldn't understand, but I mean I took addiction classes in school, which I'm not comparing myself to you at all. I'm not comparing my addiction to your addiction, my gym addiction to, drug addiction. But I mean I never bought a legal drink of alcohol because alcoholism ran in my family. My dad was an alcoholic, so watching
Mhm.
that whole downfall and that whole scenario play out, I decided to go to chemical dependency classes and start to understand what this was. And my buddy's brother overdosed on heroin,
Mm.
and it was like this whole shift of like, this is like, I had 7 friends that people I went to school with that had died in 1 year from heroin. So it was like, what the fuck's happening? You start to realize like, when I even took it, like I got really interested in screwball. I got just recently. So I'm like, holy shit, like I get it now why people in their 20s drink, because that gets them through a lot of the pain that's going on today. Is you don't realize is like it makes a lot of that shit go away. And that feeling is so fucking good. But you got to make sure that you don't let that control your life. And that's the hardest come to grips, especially like for me when it came to going to the gym, was like, I'm letting something in my fucking head control what I'm doing. I'm letting something control me. And I have a problem with authority. So that snapped me right out of that. Like, oh no, I don't want
Mm.
anything controlling my life unless it's me doing it. And the hard part was when I went to these addiction classes, alcohol classes, just to learn for school, what I didn't like was the way they made you feel when you're there, like you're a fucking like psychopath or you're a crazy person. It's like they're a person that just that needs help. It's like everything's got to be a wounded thing. And I remember sitting there, the guy's like, What are you here for?" I'm like, "I'm here for one of my classes, supposed to go to an alcohol class to see what it's like to be in here and hear some stories." And he's like, "Okay, sit anywhere you feel comfortable." I sat on the alcoholic side. And then next thing I know, fucking they're going down the line of people and everybody's like, "Hi, my name's Jim." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm next." Next thing they go over to me, they're like, "So what are you here for?" And everybody's looking at me like, "You're an alcoholic?" And I just look, I'm like, Oh no, you asked me where I feel comfortable, and I'm not looking at anybody like a wounded bird. So I just sat down, and this chair has the wheelies on it. So I wanted to fucking roll around. And they all started laughing, and then they started talking to me afterwards, like, yeah, it was like you weren't usually people stay away from us, or usually people are at like a distance looking at us like we're toxic or something. I'm like, no, you're just fucking people. Everyone can suffer from addiction. Most people nowadays are suffering from a food addiction because we want to eat the food, so we just look at food review pages. It's fucking addiction because the world is so vast with stuff, and we're all trying to find a way to cope, and whatever can get us through the next day, that's what we go towards. That is the easiest thing to go towards, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's anything, because life is so fucking hard to live. And it's really hard to come to grips with that. And it seems like that tunnel is never going to end. It goes hand in hand with depression. And I'm just like, you have it in you to find out what it is you want to do and what gets you through the next day. But sometimes you come across the wrong thing. And I think that's what people need to understand is we're all filled with mistakes. We all do slip ups. We all do something that we regret in life and we look back on. And I don't ever want to hold someone to bar on that and hold that against them for the rest of their life. And that was the biggest thing for me to take addiction counseling, was because I could empathize with these people. I'd been around it. I understood what that was like. And it does take a while for you to understand it's yourself, but you got to come up, bro. You got something ahead of you. It's, it doesn't just keep getting down if you let it. You can turn that thing around whenever you want. And I know saying that's like, all right, but addiction's over your head. It's like captures everything. Yeah, it does. But you have something there that can get you out of it. You have something there. You got to find out what that is, though. And it's
Mhm,
individually unique
mhm.
for everyone.
Yeah, and I like the other thing that you kind of brought up, and I don't really know where that line is, but you're kind of talking about the line of using something to cope, and then like it crosses into that area of addiction, and I don't know where that line is. And I know for me personally, like being a recovering drug addict, like I can't use anything, man. Like I know there's some people that still smoke weed or still drink or whatever, and there's like and I understand that. I mean, different people look at things differently, but for me, like I can't use anything because I'm afraid that if I smoke a joint or if I drink a beer or something, like I'm gonna go back to the hard stuff. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Like the whole idea of coping, and it really can be anything, man. I got a book from a lady that's wanted to be on my podcast, and her whole thing is about overeating and how we use food to try to fill that void. And I think a lot of it, at least from my perspective that I've seen, as far as addiction goes, is people looking for that instant gratification. I feel like shit, so if I take this, if I eat this, if I play this, if I buy this, if I look at this, whatever, fill in the blank, like I want to change the way I feel. And I think that addiction and mental health go hand in hand, man. I really do. I think the vast majority of people that struggle with addiction are also struggling with depression or anxiety or something in that area, and their solution to try to help get rid of those feelings of depression or anxiety is whatever this outside substance is, drugs, food, sex, porn, gambling, whatever, to try to mask and help. Like that's their solution to deal with those issues.
And when you say that too, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about not seeing a wounded bird. When you say that, I look at that
Mhm.
like I don't look at you like some person that's suffering from an addiction thing. I look at you as a person, as a person. I'm like fucking that could be any of us. That could be
Yeah.
anybody that is just trying to make it into the next day. And that's what people need to take into account. When you hear the word addict, doesn't mean, oh, this is a crazy person, this person you need to stay away from, this person that's made bad decisions in life. It's like, no, that could easily be you. That could be a reflection of yourself because how fucking, I mean, it's anybody that would be like, it makes the pain go away. It makes this go to the next day. I can get to the next day. Of course, you're going to build it up in your mind like that. It's like why someone's always like, for me, eating clean for so long, I don't eat fast food, but there was a calories thing. I would only consume a certain amount of calories. It had to have protein, had to be this. I stopped going out to eat and stuff. it was because my brain set it up to build up these walls of things that could stick with my comfort zone, that made me feel comfortable, that made me feel that rush, that made me feel that thing. And it's like, same thing with drugs, same thing with alcohol, same thing with sex, gambling, anything. I worked at a casino for a short amount of time. Fucking walking around first day, 5 people won like $75,000 on my first day. In the first hour I was working, I was like, damn, I might as well
Wow.
fucking gamble. And then someone stopped me that worked there for 40 years and goes, dude, this doesn't happen all the time. And these people spend countless hours here and lots of money. They probably got a quarter of what they put back into that thing. It might seem flashy, but it's not what it is. It's all trying to grab your attention and trying to get this rush that you feel. And it's that rush that's what's addicting. I'm like, all right, fuck, okay. And then it took a while. Like I would always walk by and I'd be like, I can see where this could be a good way to vent into something. This could be a good way to take your mind off something. That's all what we're looking for. But I think that just comes from a giant community aspect of things of we shouldn't all be trying to make it to the next day. We should all be trying to live today. And the easiest way to do that is to start being people again by having
Mm.
conversations, by having this connection. You We're all very disconnected as people, which makes it easier to go off into these addictions that we have and, isolate ourselves from other people and just get stuck in this same routine over and over and over again. And it doesn't make any fucking sense when you really analyze it. But who has the time to analyze it in a world that's so fast paced?
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's one of the things that I see that's on the rise with the pandemic right now, man. Like we're not communicating with each other. We're not hanging out as much as we used to. Like, sure, we're doing Zoom calls and stuff, but it's not the same as like being in the same room and seeing the person and seeing their body language and all those things. And I think that's one of the things that I didn't realize like coming into recovery was one of the big aspects that I was looking for was human connection because I never felt like I belonged, like in high school and stuff. I didn't feel like I had a group that was my own. I always felt like an outsider or an alien or something like that. And I was looking for that human connection, man. I was looking for those friendships and people that actually gave a shit about me. And I didn't find that in high school, and I'm a 12-step guy. I go to a 12-step fellowship, and that's how I found my recovery. And that's one of the big things that I've found through that is that group of people that have been through similar shit that I've been through. And like we can relate to each other because we know what it's like. We know the pain, we know the misery, we know the suffering, but we also know like the good stuff that comes from it, man. We know what it feels like to get those relationships with our families back, to get our kids back from CPS, to go back to school and get a degree, to get that job we've been looking for all these years. Like we can all celebrate together like the wins and the losses, and we're there to comfort each other when times aren't going the way we want to, man. And that's something that's been a huge part of my journey, man, is realizing the need for that human connection and also to get to that point where I can be vulnerable and open up and not just when somebody says, "Hey, how are you doing?" Just be like, "Oh, I'm good. How are you doing?" Like actually let them know, like, "Yeah, I'm not doing great, man. Like I've been feeling kind of depressed today. I'm feeling kind of down. Be real with people, be vulnerable, let them in and let them see who I really am, man. And that can be challenging and it can be difficult and it takes time. I'm not just going to walk up to a random stranger and be like, "Man, I'm feeling really depressed today." But if it's somebody that I have a relationship with, somebody that I see a couple times a week and we call each other or text and we stay in contact, like eventually we're going to get to that place where like I can open up and let you know like what's really going on and not just give you that like surface level everything's good,
It's
like
called that weather chat where you're like, "Hey, how you
yeah,
doing?"
yeah.
As the person's walking away, and they're like you're not even, you don't care. You just want to say something, then move on to what you're doing. Like you said the whole not fitting in a group thing. When I first started working out, I was made fun of so bad as a kid, all through like in the beginning years of high school, all the way from elementary school, everything, for being super overweight. Now, I wasn't really fat. I was kind of stayed around the same weight I am now, like kind of like 135, 140, but I was just really, really short. So it didn't
Hmm.
really go well. It didn't morph together, I would say. And so eventually, when I got to my sophomore year, I went down to eating an apple a day. Like that's all I was eating was one apple, and my stomach would survive off that. It didn't need anything else. So then I eventually slimmed down a little bit. And my dad, junior year, said, "Hey, I'm gonna sign you up for a gym membership. If you're gonna end up quitting after a month, let me know so I can stop paying for it." And when he said that, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking quit. I'm gonna be consistent. And I've tried to do that in everything that I've done.
Yeah.
Ended up working out, and by the third year, second year, had a six pack, still have a six pack, but had a six pack, was going to go into bodybuilding shows. And it was so I still got scars today, dude. I'll admit, I'll wear like before I go in the shower, I'll wait till the mirrors fog up. Even though I have a six pack, I don't it's body dysmorphia I carry with me. It's something it's going to take a long time for me to come to grips with, and it's still taking a long time. But I was bullied so bad. Then I had those people hitting me up saying, "Hey, man, because they're 21 and they're drinking alcohol. Like, I'm out of shape. Can you help me train me? Can you give me the advice I need?" And it was like this weird fucking, like, you used to make fun of me. You used to fucking treat me like shit. And to the point where I would go fucking, what is it, middle of December, like 3 Christmases ago or whatever, I was going to the gym in, 20-degree weather in a Kia Soul with 6 foot snow outside where the cops are on the road. Like, what the fuck are we seeing? And my car's like hitting all the snow, drifting all over the place, going to the gym at 1 o'clock in the morning because I had to. I can't miss a day. And seeing people that are asking for help, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I would just be like, yeah. They're like, I'll pay you. I'm like, don't need to pay me. I'll do it for free because I wish someone would have helped me out when I needed it and gave me the guidance I wanted to change something about myself. And I had to find that myself, which is why I never wanted to be a trainer, why I never wanted to do that even for a living, even though how passionate I am about it. It's this point you get where you're going to have scars from what you did, from the addiction, whatever you want to call it. But it's a sense of like people listening to you, listening to me, listening to whatever talk about this shit. It lets you know you're not fucking alone. And that is the
Mm.
best
Mm.
feeling in the world, is knowing that it's not just you. Life didn't give you a shit roll of the dice. You're not the one who's fucked. We all have a sense about us that's a little bit fucked. And when
Mm.
that openness comes in, oh my God, that's the hope that people talk about. That's the thing where it's like, oh shit, it comes from this perspective of like, oh my God, I'm not lower. I'm not the worst of the worst. I'm just like you. We're all trying to make it through the next day. And that's what I try and prioritize when people, when I see something like a story like yours, when I see someone that feels like they're down in the luck or they're super depressed and life's just giving them a shit roll of dice. I feel like that every fucking day. I got voices in my head that weightlifting keeps out. That's my fix.
Mm.
But feeling like you're less than somebody, feeling that is the worst in the world. And that's what I try and tell people is I look at everyone the same, because feeling like you're worthless, feeling like you're this is something that nobody should ever feel. You should always treat everyone just like you would want to be treated. And that's an old, old, old motto. But nobody follows that. It's always comparisons. It's always fake conversation. It's never real authenticness. And this podcast of mine was started off of a buddy that tried to kill himself.
Mm.
It comes to this point where it's like he was doing way better than me. He was on the road to Harvard. He was going to be a baseball star. Then he just called me drunk on top of his roof, like, "Hey, man, I'm starting to realize every decision isn't my own, it's my parents." And it's like, fuck, we're all like, we just need to talk. We just need to chat. That's all it takes. And it's like the biggest hug to our soul.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, man, I love that. I love that point that you brought up of like, I'm not alone. Like, you're not the only person that's struggling with that. Cause I think a lot of us that struggle with addiction get to that point where we feel like we're worthless and no one would ever understand what I'm going through. And like, I've been at that point where I'm like, man, like, I've pretty much cut everybody off. Like, I can't call my parents and tell them about it. I can't tell. I don't really have any friends left. Like, I've run them all off because I've been so consumed with this addiction. And you just get to this point where it's like nobody would ever understand. And I remember oh shit, it was probably 8 years ago. It was like when I first got honest with myself and realized like I have a problem. And I called my sister and I was like, I was on a break at work and I was working this shitty pizza delivery job, and I was like in my phone or in my car on the phone, and I'm crying like, I can't stop smoking meth. I don't know what to do. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. She's like, you can come crash on my couch if you want. And I'm like, yeah, that might work. Like, at least I'll be away from my roommates that are smoking and shooting it and stuff. But like, I don't know what to do. And it was just like this moment of desperation. And that's one of the beautiful things. And I feel like I just keep harping on a program, but that's one of the things that I've found really helpful with the program that I'm a part of is that identification and realizing that we're not alone, that there's other people that are also struggling, and we don't have to do it alone anymore. You know, we have each other, and that's a beautiful thing, man. It's just that community. So yeah, man, for sure.
You never know when that conclusion hits you either. That
Hmm.
conclusion that I wasn't the only one that suffered from like looking in the mirror and not liking what they saw. You know, like even though I had a six pack, I was always like more analyzed on like, oh, I'm 3% body fat. I could be less. I could be less. And it was like the best documentary for me that really related to was Ronnie Coleman's documentary. I don't know if you know a whole lot about Ronnie Coleman, but
No.
his weightlifting he's Mr. Olympia 8 times. Like this man was 350 pounds and 0.3% body fat. That's less than 1%.
Wow.
So he's jacked, but he's at the age of like 56, I think. And he's had like 8 different back surgeries because the documentary, it's him weightlifting and he's wearing
Hmm.
crutches on his arms. And they're like, if you just stop working out, you'll heal. And he's like, I can't do that. And he just keeps lifting and lifting and lifting. It's because that feeling you get, you build it up in your head as this amazing fucking thing that gets you into the next day when it's really you. You are the person that can get you into the next day. And, you know, it's this weird thing like, when I was working at the casino, the reason I stopped was I was in my car crying before I would go into work because I was wearing a belt and a buttoned up shirt. And I was like, this isn't me. I can't, I don't wear tight stuff. I can't, I like loose flowing clothing. I like things not to be able to see my body and all these types of stuff. And then when I had, one of the first few episodes I had a transgender person on and it was someone that I worked with and I was talking to him now and he was telling me all these things about like looking up in the mirror and not liking what he saw. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. That's me not liking what I saw. So we all relate on a level. We just got to
Hmm.
find what that level is. Nobody's we all may be unique and all individuals, but we all have same basic instincts, same issues a lot of the time, and we can bond over those things. But nobody ever wants to talk about them in the fear that they might be less than somebody else. And I think that's the biggest issue is when you cut off that openness, you land in this land of isolation and desolation where you just get sucked up in your own feelings and emotions. And that's the worst spot to be sometimes when you're surrounded by your darkness and you don't have anybody to help talk you through or be there with you to make you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah, and man, that's I feel like that's the whole world right now is so divided. Even I mean, just look at the United States right now. Everything's divided politically, and it's so difficult to not judge and to find your people, man, because everybody's, you're a Republican or a Democrat, or you're Christian or you're Muslim or you're Jewish or you're atheist or you're this or that. Like there's so many different thing. Everybody, it's like so tribalistic, man. Like everybody has their own tribe, and we don't talk to these people, and we don't talk with these people, and the world is just such a divided place, man. And that's one of the beautiful things that I've come to learn is like, man, I can relate to anybody. Like just because we don't look the same or we don't have the same beliefs or you know not everything has to be the same, man. Like we're all humans. Like there's something there that we can connect on. Like it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, trans, you know, Muslim, Christian, atheist, Republican, Democrat, whatever. Like we can all connect. There's something there. And that's what we need to do, man. Like and it sounds like so hippie like and shit to be like, we just need to like love each other and but man, that's the truth. Like there's so much there, man, and we can learn from those other perspectives. That's one of the things that I love about having a podcast, man, is I get to talk to people from all over the world, all the excuse me, all over the world, all different ages, all different races, all different, you name it. And getting to see those different perspectives, man, like getting to see how people view things differently is such a huge thing and such an eye opener. And realizing, like, at the end of the day, we're all people, man. We all just want to be loved. We all want to feel secure. We all want to find happiness. Like there's these basic things that we all want, and we're all the same. Like it really doesn't matter what we do. Like all these other things, like we just
I
need to
can
come
tell you
together, man.
through 600 something episodes that I have posted and I've done, those are 600 something individual conversations that I've had. We all think the fucking same.
Yeah,
Everyone has the
yeah,
same idea and deep topic on their mind that they want to talk about, but nobody's doing it. And you start to realize we're all a lot more similar. The reason why I say it's video, the reason why I say, use your name or something is so you don't say outlandish shit. So you don't come on here saying fuck this, fuck that, fuck that. And then it's like this ghost keyboard warrior fake account shit. I'm not a
yeah,
fan of
yeah,
that. And that's why I don't like
yeah.
pseudonyms. I don't like any of that stuff. I want you to be real because I want you to say what you actually feel. And I want to hear those things. I'm probably what a lot of the population should be, and that's open-minded. And it doesn't matter if you're flat earth, doesn't matter, whatever. Okay. The problem is when you start getting into a conversation and you start trying to pick why someone's wrong and you start going off, there's very few things in this world I will fight against. And that is probably the one main thing is that's kids shouldn't get free lunches at school. I think they should. And I've had one person hit me on that and I was like, hold on a fucking second. Mostly because I think when people need help, a lot of times it's out of their control or it's more like, a little kid can't buy a lunch for himself because he doesn't have a job. He doesn't make the money to. So yeah, he should get a free lunch. And
Mm,
the issue is relying on people in your life. If you can't do it yourself, then maybe it's a task you shouldn't be doing. We're at a point in our society where relying on someone else isn't the go-to because of how hard it is to rely on somebody that's not yourself because if they're not getting anything out of it, there's really not a point in them doing it. You know what I mean? It's this weird shift I had to come to grips with. My whole life I would ask for a
mhm,
favor or something and next thing I know it wouldn't get done, and then I realized, oh, I have to do it for myself. It's this whole like what can I get out of it situation that we're in society, and I think there's a way to reverse that, but it starts with the simple task of not expecting anything, and that's a hard thing for people to want to do something for. Like if you're not getting anything out of it, like why the fuck am I going to be on this person's show because I'm not getting anything out of it? What is Are they
mhm.
not, it's this whole mindset of things, and I've come across the whole community of podcasting, good and bad of it. There are a lot of good people out there, but it starts with just wanting to be in the moment or just wanting to be in that conversation or just being yourself. It gets lost when you start worrying about fame and things of this sort
Mm.
because honestly, fame is the fucking corrupting motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's one of the things that I try to do with my podcast. Like my face isn't on the cover art. I honestly, like, I probably speak for like 5% of the podcast, and the rest of it is the guest, man, because I'm not doing the podcast to try to get famous. I'm not doing the podcast to try to get rich. Like I genuinely want to hear people's stories, and I want them to have that platform where they can share that and get that message out there to try to help other people, man, because that's what it's all about, man. It's all about trying to help people because it's like a pay it forward kind of situation, because there were people that were willing to help me answer my questions, encourage me, like do all these things to help me in the beginning when I didn't know what to do. And so now I need to be that person for somebody else. I feel like that's one of my jobs now, is like I need to be that person that I was looking up to that was there to help me in the beginning. Like I need to be that person for somebody else, because that person that helped me, like I haven't seen them in a while, so that job's open. So now I need to step up and be that person. So it's the same thing with the podcast, man. Like I want to give people a platform to share their struggles, to share their victories, to share what they're doing to help other people. And it's not you know, my name's not in the show. Like I said, it's not like the Joe Rogan experience. I don't it's not the Brett Morris experience. It's Recovery Survey. Like I'm not trying to get famous. I don't think I'm ever going to get so big where I can quit my job and just podcast. I mean, that would be fucking awesome, but I don't think that's going to happen for me because I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a big name person. And man, I just want to help somebody. Like if I can help one person because of this podcast, it's worth my time. It's worth the effort. It's worth all those things, man. So yeah, just
You know
be
who
there
I
for people.
you know who I think you would really enjoy to listen to is a guy named Jamie Kilstein. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I'm not familiar with him.
He talks a lot about depression and a lot of the stuff like his suicide attempts he has. He's a comedian, but he talked about it like imagine all the courage and empowerment and all the stuff he talks about positivity on his podcast. And imagine if he just had that day where he ended it. And what are all those people that came to him for help going to do when they look at
Mm,
that and this whole thing? He's very open about it. He gets a lot of crap from it from people like, oh, you're weak and stuff like that. Some of the stuff I listen to, I'm like, man, all right, okay, I get it. But he is very, very open about a lot of it. And I think that's the whole point of it all is when you're open about something like that, then it doesn't seclude people from thinking they're the only ones that are suffering. And
mhm.
it's important to have that there. I have someone that was on my podcast. You can check out her episode. Her name is Sarah. I think Sarah Jean Lapido.
Uh-huh.
I'll connect her. She'd be amazing for your podcast. She's a woman welder. That's not why she'd be amazing for your podcast, but she got into it from a heroin addiction. She went to jail, and that's all she did in jail was welding. And the next thing you know,
Mhm.
she became something from that. And now she goes to schools and speaks about addiction and all these things. And amazing story. But it really shows in the grasp of things. If it's hard to be open, dude, it is. It's I my fault possibly for the start of this podcast was saying, let's cut right into the meat and potatoes of things. But you find that once you kind of get there and you lose the stigma of why it's so hard to talk about it, it makes people more open to want to talk about it. And it brings them into this whole thing where it doesn't take 8 or 9 different hangouts for that stuff to come out. Or because some people might not have 8 or 9 hangouts. Next,
Mhm.
by the second hangout, they end up doing something to themselves that could hurt them forever. Like it was crazy because my best friend, he knows I fucking love him. So if he's listening to this, which I doubt he listens to my show at all, he's told me plenty of times. But when he lost his brother, it was this thing like he didn't like his brother. He hated how he was doing all these horse tranquilizers and all these crazy things. And he dude was 28 years old, just building up walls, and you would never see him outside of his room. He would always be doing drugs in his room and just playing really loud radio music at 2 o'clock in the morning. But it was someone that had something and then just got really comfortable and built up walls and isolated themselves from everybody. And it was really hard to watch. But when he passed, I remember getting the message and I was like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. And I had to be there for my buddy. And he goes, I might have lost a brother, but I gained one because you are my brother. And it was like this whole thing of like, everyone has something, whether you're the one suffering with addiction or whether you're trying to deal with it being around you. You have someone you can turn to. And I think if we're more open, we'll have more people to turn to, and it won't ever get to that point where we might lose somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's another aspect of it too, man. Like I didn't realize until I stopped using that it affected more than just me. Like when I'm in the middle of my addiction, like I'm a really selfish piece of shit person, man. Like all I'm thinking about is me, and I don't think about how any of my actions can affect the people around me, man. Like I remember I had a conversation with my mom. Oh, it was early on. It was in the first couple months of me getting clean, and she told me like I would wake up in the middle of the night and just I would worry about you, and I'd pray for you, and I would just constantly have this fear that I was going to get a call that you died, like they found your body somewhere and they needed us to come identify your body. uh and I didn't realize like what my using, how it was affecting other people. You know, I thought, I knew that my parents didn't approve of it, so I'm gonna just kind of ignore them. I'm gonna ghost them. I'm not gonna come around for holidays and stuff. Like I'm not gonna hang out with them. And I thought that was me doing the right thing, like not wanting to be involved with them, but I didn't realize that it was affecting them in that way. Like it hurts the people we love too, man. Like our actions have consequences and they affect more than just us, and that's a whole nother aspect of this thing, man.
It's funny because you said like kind of how like cut off you were being, or how like a little bit like kind of maybe a little hostile towards some things. It's how I am at the
Mm-hmm.
gym. I work out at 4 a.m. I don't do a podcast before. I only do them after because I won't be able to talk to you. I won't be able to talk to anybody. There's just something not, it's that thing in my head where it levels me out throughout the day. I mean, constant stress, all these things, that's my outlet. I mean, it makes it difficult when you're DMing 80 million people trying to do a podcast. And next thing you know, you're getting blown up at the gym. And that's the one thing where I have to turn off my phone and isolate. But I get that bulldog mode. Someone goes towards the set I'm going on. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
get the fuck out of here. You know, that type of thing. But it's this mentality of, you know, what works and you stick with it and you don't want anybody interfering with it. And that's what I cut off a lot of my social life. And next thing you know, it was like I only got my one buddy. I don't go out and party. I don't go out and do things like that. It's because I got to make it to the gym. You start realizing and you start finding out, what are you going to prioritize in life? Is it going and doing that next hit, or is it hanging with family and realizing that they're just there for you? They're trying their best way. It might not be in the right mindset of trying to help you, but they're trying, and that's what's important. You know, it took a while for me to be like, what do you mean? Like, stop trying to stop me from going to the gym. And then it was like this hit of like, I get what you're trying to do because you care, but it's in the wrong way. And sometimes that's that in their mind, that is the right way. You know, it's this whole come to grips thing of like, you need to come to it on your own terms. And that is really, really fucking hard to do when everyone else wants to put their foot on your neck trying to get you there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the best thing I always said was like, never just always keep that door open, because it's so much easier. Like, if you ever, like, if I was your friend and you were struggling and I kept trying to change you, nothing would happen. And then when you finally came to grips that you wanted help, I would help you because I left that door open and I didn't pressure you to get there, because you need to come to grips on it on your own terms.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll share this piece because I think a lot of people find this pretty interesting, and I'm not going to go into too many specifics, but
You snorted crack.
yes, but
Wait, hold on. What? I was joking. I did a couple sugar packets at McDonald's one time and my nose bled. I was like, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, been there, done that, man. That's yeah. But a lot of people find it interesting. My dad used to be, he no longer is, he's retired, but for many years and while I was using, he was an undercover cop and he would buy drugs from drug dealers and arrest them. So a lot of people find that really interesting as part of my story, that here I am out there using and my dad is pretending to be a drug user to buy drugs from people and like build up cases and try to find like work his way up and figure out like who the supplier is and make arrests and stuff. So I think a lot of people find that really fascinating.
Okay. I was going to say, I guess he didn't make detective because he couldn't find out his own son was using. But
Oh, he knew I was. He knew I was.
oh, that's got to be the hardest thing to come to grips with is, oh, man. And it's such a fucking twist and turn pull thing, because it's like, why, if it feels good, if it helps me get me into the next day, then why is it wrong to do it? And then you just
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you come to grips sooner or later that it's, well, hopefully sooner rather than later, that you know it's not the healthiest option. You know, it's not like being fucking keto or vegan or some diet that everybody goes all nuts about. I consider that an addiction when people start tossing out their vegan before they even introduce themselves. um, it hits this point of, would the world just be a better place if we just learn to be more authentic with each other. I feel like that's the big thing that's dividing us all is when we keep this fake. Like I cracked a joke a long time ago before coronavirus that why are people or I guess when the mask thing started coming out, why are people so worried about wearing masks when they've been hiding their true selves behind a mask all this time? Like nobody ever is truly honest. You
Mm-hmm.
don't. I don't know anybody I work with as well as I should. I don't. It's this hard thing because everyone's afraid to be open.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's it's a difficult thing to open up, man, because I think we're trained or we learn like if I'm if I'm open, if I'm too vulnerable, like I can get hurt. And I think that's what a lot of it is, man, is we're afraid of what could happen and we base that on past experiences, even as like as kids, man, because I think when we're kids, like we're brutally honest with each other. Like we'll say things that we wouldn't say as adults. I mean, like if you have any, if you, I don't know if you have kids, but if you have nieces or nephews or whatever, like they'll say anything, man.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I saw my little nephew. He's 4 the other day. And he's like, "You look really fat today." I was like, "Oh, gee, thanks, man." Like,
Dude, my little nephew, he's 2.5. He just said to some lady at a restaurant, he's like, look how fat she is. I'm like, bro. I slapped him in the back of the head. I was like, yo, you gotta say it in private. Don't say it in public. What's wrong with you?
so I think I don't know, man. Like I don't have a degree in any kind of like anything. Fuck, I don't have a degree at all. If you can tell from how I can't string 3 words together, but my opinion, I think we learn that as a kid, man. Like we hear each other when we're kids and we're brutally honest and we get our feelings hurt and stuff, and so we begin to start building those walls up. Like I'm not gonna show my weaknesses. I'm not gonna show my vulnerabilities, and we carry that on into adulthood of like I'm I'm just gonna keep to myself. I'm not gonna open up too much because I could get hurt again, and yeah, I think we carry that over.
I think it's a sign of what shows you with everything that we see in the world. It's always people bragging. And I've always said that,
Mm,
we brag in public and we cry in private. It's hard for a lot of people to show the bad times and a lot of people to show this because everybody wants to see like everybody wants to look at everybody and compare. And when
mhm.
somebody sees something where someone going through a bad time or going through something, they feed on it like a little fucking monster. And, it's the same voice I use for the voice of addiction. It's like, oh yes, give me, because it's the same grasp. You love seeing that conflict. You love seeing like, well, they're doing shit. It's gonna make my life better in comparison. Honestly, it's not the way we should be thinking about shit. That is a wrong way to think about it. And I think more people should be honest about what's going on in their life. When you find out, oh, hey, man, like, yeah, like I'll post on, hey, having a rough day, having this, having this. Now everything's so flushed up with coronavirus. People are saying, oh, it's a serious matter. It's this, it's that. It is. But when you're flushing that through social media, it's making a lot of people look at it like, well, I haven't gotten it. Well, I haven't gotten it. Just understand we need to have a sense of empathy with the world and don't lose that connectivity. There's a really easy way. Like I'll extend the offer to anybody listening, extend the offer to you for sure. If you ever want to message me, you ever want to talk, you ever want to do something like that, and I'm not just saying this because we're recording, I'm saying this 100% to you. Hit me up. I've done that with plenty of random listeners that have hit me up and asked for help.
Mhm.
We're all at the same fucking spot. I'm not any fucking higher up on a pedestal because I've been doing this
Mhm.
a little bit longer. That's all
Mhm.
you need. I wish Joe Rogan would send me a fucking message back. But at the same time, I'm not fucking upset about it. We all got different ways to try to get through to the next day. And it just helps if we can just offer a little bit into someone else's life to help them out.
Mhm. I like what you brought up there, man, and I think a lot of it we're living in like this social media age where all we want people to see is the good things. We only want people to see our successes and like those picture perfect moments of like, oh, look at my family on Christmas Eve and look at everybody smiling with their fucking matching pajamas and hot chocolate and shit. But we don't see like the 10 minutes before where the kids are crying and screaming and the parents are pulling their hair out and they're struggling to pay the fucking electric bill. Like we don't see all those things, and so we start to compare ourselves to these images of people at their best, and we don't see the struggles, man. We see people driving the brand new 2021 Mustang or whatever, but we don't see that they're $50,000 in debt. We don't see all these things. Like we see like this public persona of things, and we want to compare ourselves to that. And I think also it kind of goes it's kind of tied into the whole addiction thing too, man. Like, yeah, I love having new shit. Like I like having nice things. But I also don't want to put myself in a spot where I'm going to be like struggling financially because I got this new car, but it's that instant gratification, and it's like I want to show people how important I am because I have the newest iPhone, and I have the newest car, and I have this and that and that. I think that's part of addiction too, man, is like wanting to have this persona of like I'm such an important person, and look at me and look at how successful I am. And man, that shit doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't.
Yeah. You know what I post? I don't brag on social media. You know what I post? I posted a picture of I dropped a 45-pound plate on my foot yesterday,
Ooh.
and I felt my toe underneath that thing, and I felt it like bleeding. And I was like, I'm not gonna check until I get home. And I checked, and I'm looking at it right now. And let me tell you something. It is horrific. It looks like the movie Big Daddy or Daddy's, whatever the movie is with Adam Sandler, where the dude's got a black foot. So
Uh-huh.
that's me posting on social media. I'm not bragging. Just be happy you're not like me and suffering with this, where you got to limp to the store. That gives me an excuse, though, when I go to the grocery store to use the Walmart shopping cart that's like motorized. But that's about it.
Nice, nice.
And I think it's
I
important.
don't think I've ever used one of those.
They're fun. I like to do it at 2 o'clock in the morning when nobody is kind of watching, kind of like what a lot of us do in the room when it's dark. But it is this world has a lot of good stuff about it, but I think a really good point is the fact that we all go through something, and if we can come together and help each other come across those paths and try and find a path, which is why your podcast is important, um, lets people listening that might not resonate with every single story, but resonate with one in particular. And
Hmm.
I have a good couple podcast recommendations I'll give to you. I think you'd really enjoy. But dude, thank you for, coming on to the podcast, man, and giving me your time, Brett. It does mean a lot, dude. Seriously, like out of the bottom of my heart. And, if you want to promote your podcast, let people know where they can find you at so I can make sure I link it all in the description, man.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you for inviting me, man. And I'll extend the same invitation that you did. If anybody ever needs to talk, or you're confused, lonely, whatever, fill in the blank, like send me a DM.
You could have
I mean,
dropped the show name. You could have said out of the blank, but then you said fill in the
oh fuck, I missed that one, man. That was a
blank.
swing and a miss. I didn't even think about that.
That's my
That was pretty
spinoff
good.
podcast I had like a year ago. I was doing specific topics. We called it fill in the blank. And then Dr. Phil made
Uh,
a podcast, and he used the same exact name, except he used his actual Phil in the blank. And I was like, I
uh,
had it first, bro.
man, that was a missed opportunity on my part. I need to think a little bit ahead. But yeah, if anybody just needs somebody to talk to, man, send me a message on social media. I'll shoot you my cell phone number, man. Like I don't care. I'm just a normal guy with a microphone and a computer, and you can find, if you're interested in the podcast, recoverysurvey.com. I'm on all the major podcast apps, Recovery Survey, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Recovery Survey. So it's pretty easy to find. Same thing across the board, man.
I make sure to link it all in the description. And thank you for listening to this episode, Out of the Blank podcast.